EPiSODE. EPiSODE.
What's going on, Brooklyn College? This is eiram.six, coming at you live from the BK where you can have it your way pretty much any day. 410 baby forever though. Everywhere I go, I let them know who raised me. Love my city down, dummy. Baltimore, baby, how we feeling? Brooklyn, how we feeling? Cali friends, how we doing? And everyone in between, how's it going? Good? Everyone good? That's good. So, you might recognize my voice from a couple other shows I've been on here at Brooklyn College. The first one is called Tip of the Hat, episode 3 with Born Rios. If you missed the live, that's totally fine. You can check it out on YouTube. Again, that's Tip of the Hat, episode 3 with Born Rios and eiram.six. That me. On that episode, we discuss things like authenticity, music, and more. Be sure to check that out and show love to his show as well. It airs on Thursdays at 2 p.m. I also had the pleasure of discussing the finer points of reality television and what it truly means to be a baddie on a show run by WBCR's very own station manager, the lovely Serena. Her show is called It's Time to Speak On, a podcast where every story matters. Tune into that as well. It airs Mondays at 2 and Fridays at 3. The episode I appear in alongside the Vanguard's lovely Jada is titled Baddies and Natalie Nunn, which is available everywhere that podcasts are listenable. Moving right along, I have some pretty exciting news. I've just been approved for my very own show here at the WBCR. Yay! Confetti, confetti, applause, applause. I'm going to get a soundtrack going eventually, y'all, but give me a break. It's the first day. But I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to the team here at WBCR for being so welcoming and open with me. Thank you to Brooklyn College for keeping the radio station here alive and well. And thank you, dear listener, for taking the time out of your very busy day to tune in. You can find me here every Wednesday and Friday at 2 for the duration of the spring semester and hopefully again in the fall. But please note, spring break is just around the corner, so there will be no show next week, but still tune in this Friday, and I'll be back again on April 15th. So, on that note, welcome. This is episode 1 of my new show called Listen to This with eiram.six. Since this is the first episode, I wanted to tell you a bit about the show and introduce myself to you guys a little bit. So, as far as the show goes, on Wednesdays, I'll invite a guest to speak on the show, and together we'll explore the topic of creativity. The idea is, The idea is just to go over the creative process and any current projects that my guests might be working on or have worked on in the past, and also provide them an opportunity to share more of themselves and their works with the audience. I think that when we hear the word creativity, immediately our brains associate that with the arts, right? But really, it doesn't stop there. It's not just the arts. If you take a look around, creativity and human ingenuity is all around us. My objective as your show host is to just explore as many realms and avenues of that as possible to hopefully inform, educate, and maybe motivate people in their journeys as well. If this sounds like something that you're interested in being a part of, I'd really love to have you. Go ahead and send me an email at eiram.six, eiram.six, S-I-X, at proton.me. Please note that you actually don't have to be a Brooklyn College student to appear on the show, but obviously since this is college radio, my fellow Bulldogs, my dogs, are going to get priority. But with that being said, yes. If you have a project that you've finished recently, if you have something that you've been actively working on, email me. And again, that's eiram6 at proton.me, eiram.six, S-I-X, at proton.me. Tell me your name, write a brief paragraph about what it is you're working on, and I'll get back to you. I say paragraph as just a general rule of thumb, but you can go over or under that if you'd like. However, if you do decide to email me, please, I beg, please don't send me anything longer than a page, because respectfully, your boy's still in college, and there's already so much reading that I may or may not be completing in a timely fashion. Besides, I'd rather talk more about it in person. So yes, that's that for Wednesdays. But wait, there's more. On Fridays, I'll plan a set and spin a little mix for you guys. As a producer, I specialize in making dance music, so I will definitely be playing tracks with the intention of just getting you moving and grooving in some kind of way. But I also just genuinely love to share music with other people, and I listen to a pretty wide variety, so there might be some days where I come in and just share a playlist that I've curated, but typically DJ mixes are going to be the priority for Fridays, so tune into that as well. Sidebar, outside of the show, on Fridays I make mini playlists and write about them on my Substack. If you're looking for new ways to discover music that isn't algorithm-based, definitely check that out. The link is in my Instagram bio if you're interested, and my Instagram handle is the same as my email. That's at eiram6, eiram.six. So, if you couldn't tell, sharing music is definitely a love language of mine. It's really fun getting to know people and what they like, and making suggestions based on their vibe, and also in turn being put on to new stuff as well. It's the gift that keeps on giving, for real. And a friend of mine actually just put me on to this Filipino group that I hadn't heard of before called Nona, and I'm very excited to check that out. But yeah. So, sorry, you guys, I'm actually like low-key kind of nervous, but we're working through it. So, with that, sharing music. On a personal note, a close friend of mine and I used to really share music with each other, like, all the time, religiously. And that friend, unfortunately, is no longer with us. He passed away back in 2020, and truthfully, I haven't been able to get that kind of back and forth action that I had with him ever since. But I don't know. Maybe we could do that with each other if you also like to exchange music with people. I really do, and if you're interested in that, go ahead and email me with all the latest bangers and songs that you enjoy, and I'll send you some of mine. It really is a love language, and I really love the way that music brings us together. So, yes, if you're interested, please share. I'd love to hear what you got going on in the headphones. So that's that on the show, how it works, and what you can expect moving forward. Again, tune in Wednesdays and Fridays from 2 to 2:45 here at WBCR. And if you miss it, don't even trip, dog. I'll have these uploaded to YouTube as well. And as a reminder, again, I'm going to be here this Friday, but there will be no show next week because spring break. And after that, I will return on the 15th with my very lovely first guest, and I'll leave y'all hanging in suspense a little bit about who that could potentially be. So, since the Wednesday portion is about exploring creativity, I thought I would share with y'all what that means to me and why I think it matters. So, creativity can be defined as the ability to make or otherwise bring something into existence. I believe that creativity is a cornerstone to human function. And again, it takes on so many shapes. It's not just limited to the arts. There's creativity in business, sciences, financial planning, and just everyday problem solving. And I think it would be really cool to just explore what creation is to other people across these various fields and mediums and how it manifests in their life, because again, I think it's pretty central to our function as human beings. And I also am interested to see how other people go about their creative process, because it looks different on all of us. I truly believe that each of us are creatives in some capacity, and the more time that we take to recognize that and appreciate that about one another, the more I think we'll be able to discover that same type of energy within ourselves. And in doing so, I don't know, I think the world would look a whole lot different. And dare I say, maybe better. So with that, I also want to talk about how creativity manifests in my life and what it means to me on a more personal level. So creativity for me has shown up a lot in terms of just problem solving, resourcefulness, and overall resilience. My parents and I, we get along great now, but truthfully, it wasn't always that way. And when I was a bit younger and, full of angst, I was definitely tapping into the creative problem-solving process of how the heck can I get up out of here? And when am I going to live on my own? How will I live on my own? Which is a sentiment that I'm sure many of us have had or will have, especially amongst the younger crowd. I moved out when I was 17, and there were times where I truly didn't know where I was going to end up next, or what I was going to eat, or how I was going to pay for things. There were times when I needed a job bad, but I just, couldn't find one. But somehow, some way, and truly by the grace of God, I was able to work that out and land on my feet. But yeah, creativity is definitely involved when you're in situations like that and you're just trying to find your way and figure out how to satisfy your needs, but also get to where you want to be. So aside from that, creativity has also given me an outlet for my pain. I have experienced a lot of adversity and challenges in my life, and I don't always have the vocabulary or the awareness to really express what I'm feeling at that time. And, straight up, there have been plenty of times where I didn't feel like I had a reliable support system to open up to or confide in or things like that. So I ended up internalizing a lot of it And I would do my best before to just like distract or numb myself or just shove it really deep down into the recesses of my psyche. But in the end, at least for me, it never really worked out that way. Like, things have a funny way of popping up when you least expect them to, or in instances when you don't want them to. But creative mediums, which for me are music, writing, and storytelling, those are just ways to alchemize the pain and the experiences that I was going through and sort of make sense of them. There's nothing more maddening to me than going through something like really heavy or intense and having it live rent-free on a loop in your mind. Like, no, I can't have that. I need that. I need to get it out somehow. And creativity was just a way to give my pain and my emotions a home so that it doesn't just stay in decay inside of my body. And in doing so, it's not necessarily that it made the problems go away or changed how I felt about them, but it just helped me process it, and it helped me extract it from just my mind and channel those feelings and experiences into something that was something more, so it's not just pain. So now it's pain and purpose, or pain and productivity, or pain and potentially meaning. And just that process alone can be extremely cathartic and healing. So I'm very grateful to have found something that works for me. Apart from that, creativity is also a way to connect with others. I mentioned earlier how growing up was a little bit rough for me. And I think my parents and I just had a hard time understanding each other. But music in particular was a really solid way for us to bond. Both of my parents are super talented and musical in their own right. My mom can, hi mom. My mom can play piano really well, despite not being able to read sheet music. And she really loves 80s and dancing. So I would grow up hearing a lot from artists of that time period, like Journey, Tears for Fears, Eurythmics, and Madonna. I remember running errands with her as a child and just always hearing stuff like that on the radio or in the car, and we would sing together. My dad is also very musically gifted, and he still makes beats actually on his keyboard. And he is actually the first person to show me how to structure songs and create loops. I've been doing that since, I think, 4th grade was the first time he sat me down to do that. And just kind of been building on it ever since. My dad and I both have very strong personalities, so we bumped heads a lot in the past, to put it lightly. And we didn't always see eye to eye on things, but music was a way for us to bond and just get past all of that. And he introduced me to some heavy hitting like Motown legends like Marvin Gaye, his favorite, the Jackson 5, Michael Jackson, Luther Vandross, and so on. And he also put me on to Depeche Mode, jazz, and classical music. Even though we've had our moments, I love my parents very dearly, and I'm very grateful for the wide range of musical influence that they exposed me to, and just the way that medium brought us together through adversity. So, Mom, Dad, if you're listening, thank you. I love you, and it's all good. So besides connecting with people that you know in your real life, creativity is also a way to connect with others, and you may never actually meet them at all. I have this one sentence that appears in all of my bios online, which is, music saved my life. And I know that might sound dramatic, but to me it's like gospel truth. There were so many times in my life where I just felt like I couldn't go on, or I felt morbidly alone and abandoned in what I was experiencing, and then at exactly the right moment in exactly the right conditions. I would hear a song just sort of expressing the exact feelings that I was feeling at that moment, or situations that were very similar to mine. And that immediately just kind of opened my eyes to like the interconnectedness of things and how we're not as alone as we feel sometimes. And I just thought it was so fascinating and beautiful how strangers that I will probably never meet could describe exactly what I was feeling in moments that just felt very like, that I just felt very alone and marooned in. And I always thought it was super cool how people were able to take those emotions and those experiences and feelings and turn them into something beautiful and shareable in a way that resonates with others. Like, honestly, how cool is that? That's so cool to me. But if not that, there would just be songs that motivated me or made me feel good and got me dancing, which is just as important because life is hard and it can really wear you down sometimes. So those moments of energy, bliss, and connection are just top tier to me. And all I really want to do is contribute to that cycle in some way. And it's something that I'm willing to dedicate my life to. But, creation isn't just the tortured soul artist stuff. For me, it's also been just a great source of inexplicable joy. And it's so fun. Like, it's really fun and rewarding. And truly, there's no better feeling to me than finishing a project and getting it to sound as good as you can reasonably get it to sound. I love sharing music. I love making music. I love just the way that it brings people together, and it brings me so much happiness that totally isn't dependent on anyone or anything outside of myself. That, to me, is invaluable in a world that seems like hell-bent on overstimulating, overwhelming, or just straight up depressing or scaring the shit out of you. Somebody in my life once told me that joy is an act of resistance, and I really couldn't agree more with that statement. Choosing to find happiness in a world that seems designed to break you, to me, is badass. Music also gives me a reason to get out of bed in the morning. It fills me with a drive and an ambition that I didn't know I had. I want to be as good as I possibly can be at it, not for any commercial or competitive reason, but because I really just love it, and I feel very blessed to have found something that I can sort of lose myself in a healthy way. It gives me a sense of direction, something to continuously work toward, and a path to pursue. The opening track that you heard earlier to kick off the show was a demo I released a few months ago called Live Mas. And, it's not like perfect. It's a demo. So I know it's a bit rough around the edges, but it was the best that I could do at the time. And I just think it's really cool to sort of watch yourself and your sound grow and evolve over time. And it makes me excited for the future because as my sound design and my technical skills improve with things like mixing and mastering, there's like really no limit to where things can go with it and what it could become. I just started releasing music publicly a year ago. And in that year alone, I can just see like this steady incline of progression, which feels really good. And it makes me excited for where I'll end up or what's to come. So yeah, we talked a bit about problem solving, resilience, a place to put both pain and joy, but there's also this secret other thing that creativity does for me. But before I get into that, I want to just kind of throw this little disclaimer out there. There is absolutely nothing wrong with living or leading a more traditional lifestyle. There is nothing wrong with pursuing a 9-to-5 career. And if you are a creative person, and you work as well, you are not less of a creative because you work to sustain your creativity. If anything, it shows your dedication. Like, I just wanted to throw that out there because I didn't want people to feel like it's one extreme or the other. Like, oh, I'm not a real artist because I have a day job or whatever. Like, that's not true. You totally are. And everyone's journey is a little bit different. So, which is one of the reasons why I want to talk about it on this show. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. So yeah, the secret other thing that creativity does for me, and maybe to some people it might sound like a little woo or like out there. I might lose some of y'all with this, but stay with me. Let me cook. All right. Creativity to me, aside from all the other wonderful things that it does that I mentioned, is also a way for me to show devotion to my creator. And I'm not religious. I'm not here to convert anyone. I'm not going to, have you heard of our Lord? I'm not going to do that to you. But I do personally believe in something greater. And I also believe that my creator wired me to be this sensitive, artsy, creative individual. And when I did try to pursue a more traditional lifestyle, I tried to deny that part about me out of fear of, like lack of stability or fear of being judged or what other people would think. But creating things and being this artsy type, like, it never really left me, no matter what I was doing. It's in my bones. It's in my spirit. Every time I tried to do something else, I would always end up being like super unfulfilled or depressed, and I would get burnt out, and I would think, gosh, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I finish anything? Why can't I commit to anything? And then when I really sat with myself, I understood that it was because I wasn't living in a way or being in alignment with my true self, with how I was created to be. I wasn't attuned to my own blueprint. I was resisting who I am. And now that I recognize that, I just started to embrace that part of myself, even though it scares me, honestly. And I have no idea where it will take me or what it will lead to. And even though I know to some people I might be like cringy or unrealistic or naive with just the realities of living, which, by the way, I am fully aware of how difficult it is. Okay. Trust me. But truly, it's not about any of that or how much commercial success I'll achieve. I really don't care what other people have to say, because to me, it's about purpose and alignment. And whenever I use my gifts to the best of my ability, when I'm able to take a project from idea to concept to full-on tangible thing, in addition to just doing things that bring me joy and being authentic to who I am as a person, when I use my gifts, that's also my way of saying to my creator, I'm sorry I ran away before. I'm not running now. Thank you. I did my absolute best with what you gave me. And yeah, it's very spiritual for me. I'm a very spiritual person. I got a lot of water in my chart. But yeah, that's pretty much what creativity is to me in a nutshell, and why it's important to me personally. So with all that being said, I think I'll leave you guys on with that today. If you liked the show, if you are interested in being involved, again, please send me an email at eiram.six, eiram.six, S-I-X, at proton.me. Again, I would love to have you. I would love to explore creativity and the way that other people look at it and what it means to me. Because if I can pull all that meaning, like if it means that much to me, I just am so looking forward to like how other people perceive it as well. So yeah, that's all, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Listen to This with EPiSODE. EPiSODE. EPiSODE.